Back to the article by Rebecca Solnit. Happily, the 5 publicly pro-rape Republicans in the 2012 campaign all lost their election bids, but it's not just a matter of the garbage they say. Earlier this month, congressional Republicans refused to authorize the Violence Against Women Act because they objected to the protection it gave immigrants, transgendered women, and Native American women. And they're out to gut reproductive rights, birth control, as well as abortion, as they've pretty effectively done in many states over the last dozen years. What's meant by reproductive rights, of course, is the right of women to control their own bodies. Didn't I mention earlier that violence against women is a control issue? And though rapes are often investigated lackadaisically, there's a backlog of about 400,000 untested rape kits in this country. Rapists who impregnate their victims have parental rights in 31 states. Oh, and former vice presidential candidate and current Congressman Paul Ryan is introducing a bill that would give states the right to ban abortions and might even conceivably allow a rapist to sue his victim for having one. Of course, women are capable of all sorts of major unpleasantness, and there are violent crimes by women, but the so-called war of the sexes is extraordinarily lopsided when it comes to actual violence. Unlike the last male head of the International Monetary Fund, the current female head is not going to assault an employee at a luxury hotel. Top-ranking female officers in the United States military, unlike their male counterparts, are not accused of any sexual assaults. And young female athletes, unlike those male football players in Steubenville, Ohio, aren't likely to urinate on unconscious boys, let alone violate them and boast about it in YouTube videos and Twitter feeds. No female bus riders in India have ganged up to sexually assault a man so badly he dies of his injuries, nor are marauding packs of women terrorizing men in Cairo's Tahrir Square. And there's just no maternal equivalent to the 11% of rapes that are by fathers or stepfathers. Of the people in prison in the United States, 93.5% are not women. And though quite a lot of them should not be there in the first place, maybe some of them should because of violence, until we think of a better way to deal with it and them. No female pop star has blown the head off a young man she took home with her, as did Phil Spector. No female action movie star has been charged with domestic violence because Angelina Jolie just isn't doing what Mel Gibson and Steve McQueen did. And there aren't any celebrated female movie directors who gave a 13-year-old boy drugs before sexually assaulting that child, while she kept saying no, as did Roman Polanski. What's the matter with manhood? There's something about how masculinity is imagined, about what's praised and encouraged, about the way violence is passed on to boys that needs to be addressed. There are lovely and wonderful men out there, and one of the things that's encouraging in this round of the war against women is how many men I've seen who get it, who think it's their issue too, who stand up for us and with us in everyday life, online and in the marches from New Delhi to San Francisco this winter. Increasingly, men are becoming good allies, and there always have been some. Kindness and gentleness never had a gender, and neither did empathy. Domestic violence statistics are down significantly from earlier decades, even though they're still shockingly high, and a lot of men are at work crafting new ideas and ideals about masculinity and power. Gay men have been good allies of mine for almost 4 decades. Apparently, same-sex marriage horrifies conservatives because it's marriage between equals with no inevitable roles. Women's liberation has often been portrayed as a movement intent on encroaching upon or taking power and privilege away from men, as though in some dismal zero-sum game only one gender at a time could be free and powerful. But we are free together or slaves together. There are other things I'd rather write about, but this affects everything else. The lives of half of humanity are still dogged by, drained by, and sometimes ended by this pervasive variety of violence. Think of how much more time and energy we would have to focus on other things that matter if we weren't so busy surviving. Look at it this way. One of the best journalists I know is afraid to walk home at night in our neighborhood. Should she stop working late? How many women have had to stop doing their work or been stopped from doing it for similar reasons? The New Delhi rape and murder of Jyoti Singh, the 23-year-old who was studying physiotherapy so that she could better herself while helping others, and the assault on her male companion, seem to have triggered the reaction that we have needed for 100 or 1,000 or 5,000 years. May she be to women and men worldwide what Emmett Till, murdered by white supremacists in 1955, was to African Americans and the then nascent U.S. Civil Rights Movement. We have far more than 87,000 rapes in this country every year, but each of them is invariably portrayed as an isolated incident. We have dots so close they're splatters melting into a stain, but hardly anyone connects them or names that stain. In India they did. They said that this is a civil rights issue. It's a human rights issue. It's everyone's problem. It's not isolated, and it's never going to be acceptable again. It has to change. It's your job to change it. And mine. And ours. A piece by Rebecca Solnit, titled A Rape a Minute, 1,000 Corpses a Year, Hate Crimes in America and Elsewhere. You can find this, and you should find it, and print it off, and give it to the girls and the young women in your families, your extended families. You can find it at tomdispatch.com.